Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay at home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight, got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet, cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Home Dad Chat. Man, I tell you, it's been an exciting week of announcements and such. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, and we'll see where it goes from there. But we definitely wanted to talk about all the fun announcements that have been going out for HomeDadCon. And I know Danny is just excited to talk about it as well. Right, Danny?
Yeah, you get it. It's really funny because I always want to look at the podcast and see what we can offer the dads and try to, like find subjects that they'll be interested in, things that they want to know about, the tips, tricks, all that kind of stuff. And yet the last couple of weeks I've been like, whoa, we got to talk about these, so-and-so's coming to do such and such. And I don't want to spoil anything for tonight, but I do want to, but I'm not going to spoil anything for tonight. Because I really love seeing everything that we've got coming. I mean, every year it's that way for me. It's not like it's, this year only, but this year is a big one, and we've got a lot of really cool stuff coming in for I feel like a wide range of dads.
It is definitely a broad paint stroke, that is for sure, of just all the different topics that are out there. And in years past, we've had very concise, like age brackets of things and all this kind of, or like a very heavy, like mental side of things. Like Minneapolis was very heavy on studies and all this kind of stuff. And this one is very much like just scattered about to hit, I would imagine, most anybody's interest in some aspect, where someone doesn't really have to be like, oh, like, I don't know that I want to go to any of these, where it's like, it's going to be difficult to figure out which one you want to go to.
Yeah. What you're going to sacrifice.
Yeah. And, we were talking before we got on recording here, like the one right off the bat that, got announced on Monday was Kimmy Wolf coming back. And she was a part of DadCon at Home when we did it online last year. And she was amazing. Just from what I heard, like, I don't have a teenage daughter, and that's one of the things that she presented on. But from what I heard of the guys that went to it, they said that it was very, just a very amazing perspective on things, and helped them to understand how to better communicate with their daughters.
Yeah. And I love that she had that information out for us too, because now I don't feel any real disconnect, or haven't ever felt disconnect from my daughter. But she's only 6. Where is she going to be in 10 years? We don't know. But the thought of being able to look at her and not be so distant from her, to be, I'm here, let's talk. You talk to your mom, you talk, but that they know they have someone to talk to. But Kimmy Wolf's not talking about daughters this year.
No, she's not. And she's not in a breakout session where you have to pick between all of them. She's a keynote speaker, so everybody's going to get to hear her talk. And so she's coming in, ready to go, talking about technology and adolescence and what to know and what to say. And honestly, like, she's going to hit some very heavy stuff in the fashion of just like, what does it look like to maneuver about social media, and how they're, taking it in, how they're putting it out, whatever that is, and just how to maneuver through that. And honestly, I think anybody, it doesn't even have to be you don't have to be a dad that has an adolescent, like, because they've all been involved in it this past year, whether you like it or not.
Yes. I mean, my kids have their own Discord channel, their own voice chat channel, basically on Discord, which is an app, and it's monitored, and I know who's in it. I'm in it, as an example. But I'm like, wait, you want to let your friends from school join? I mean, cool. And I really don't know what to do in those situations. I mean, we worked it out, and we've got safeguards in place, fortunately, for that. But I love the idea that she's coming in to talk about these things, because I feel like everybody, I mean, my 6-year-old knows how to do a PowerPoint now. So we really need to get even earlier than teenage years about that, advancement of technology in their lives. I think that's cool.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. And we'll see where that goes to. And I mean, it's going to be just a really awesome hour of information. So excited for that. And then after that is done, which that's the Friday afternoon keynote. Then we've got our breakout sessions that are going to take place. And the first one is going to be, well, actually, sorry, I'm going to back up one bit. So Tuesday, before we announced the first breakout on Tuesday, there was the announcement of a brand new sponsor. So the week before was a sponsor that's been with us for about a year. This is a brand new sponsor and their local sponsor to Cincinnati, although they are worldly known. And what was announced is that Samuel Adams Cincinnati Tap Room, which there are only 2 Samuel Adams tap rooms in the entire world. One's in Boston and one is here in Cincinnati. Is going to be providing some of their brews for us to try out and enjoy in the hospitality room that we have. And one of the beers that they're going to be having is their brand new non-alcoholic Just Hazy that they are putting out. And I have never had it. We've had Matt Schneider on we've had not Matt Schneider. What am I talking about? We've had Matt Strain on the show talking about non-alcoholic beers before. And I know he's excited that they're coming with this as well as just another alternative. But yeah, they're going to come and be a part of things. And I'm really excited for them being a part of it. Keith,
absolutely.
I can't even talk tonight. Keith Nagel did an awesome job connecting with those guys and making that all take place. And so, yeah, we're excited to have them this year.
You know, I want to say connecting with a beer sponsor doesn't sound like that bad a job, but I'm sure it was a lot of work. I am serious. I know that it was a lot of work, but at the same time, Keith, yeah, you went for the beer guy. Hey, but you got it. I'm happy. I'm not, yeah, let's go get the beer guy. Absolutely. Right. I will say too, you know, I'm not a beer drinker, but I am going to go try their non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
Because it's been such a big thing lately. Like you said, after having talked to Matt about it and with Athletic Brewery and so many non-alcoholic beers that are, I think, finally drinkable. So I want to see what Sam Adams has come up with.
Definitely. Yeah, me too. And so it's kind of funny too. People might be like, why do Sam Adams has a tap room in Cincinnati and one in Boston? Like what's the connection there? So a little bit of history. Jim Cook, the one of the founders of Samuel Adams, he is originally from Cincinnati.
Ah, there it is.
And he started up Sam Adams out in Boston, but came back about 11 years after starting it in Boston and bought one of the old breweries, because we've got a ton of them here in Cincinnati, and started up a production line up here in town. And it wasn't until just a few years ago that they actually opened up the tap room after they opened the one up in Boston. And so it is not uncommon to walk into that tap room and find Jim Cook in there chilling out, and on occasion, just behind the bar, pouring beers for everybody. Like that's how down to earth the owner of Samuel Adams is. So, just a super awesome family guy. So I was really pumped to see that we were able to connect with them.
Yeah.
So, and then for the first breakout, David McMillen, which he's a local here in Cincinnati. This guy, I tell you what, like he's a legend in his own, honestly, and super humble at the same time. So he would never say that, and I will, because he's like one of my best friends. But he's going to be presenting on road tripping with your kids, which I'm sure just that title alone probably just made many dads cringe just a little bit. You're going to find out what that's like here soon. You're going to road trip up north.
Yeah.
It's a one-way road trip, but
that's going to be great. No, I sloughed that one off. I ended up renting a moving truck. I'm going to drive the moving truck.
Oh, nice.
I even told Marnie, I said, look, I don't really want a caravan because I'm going to go much slower. I can't get through fast food places. If the kids want to eat, you're going to have to pull off, and I'm just going to drive, so it's going to be me and my eldest Fabian. He can't drive yet, but just because he wanted to ride in the big truck like everybody. Yeah. And Marnie eventually figured it out. She went, wait a minute. So I'm going to be with the kids by myself for 2 days. Oh, wow. I didn't think about that. Do you want to drive the big truck? And of course, she does not want to drive the big truck. You know,
what do you do? The big truck or the kids? Ooh,
yeah,
it's
you
a
choose.
really.
I mean, I'm good with either one. Let's just face it. I can handle the kids, but
there's intimidation on both sides of that.
There is. But the thought of a road trip, because there's so much that can go sideways, you know, and there's so many things that you can just go, oh man, I wish I should have brought more 1-gallon Ziploc bags for kids to barf in, you know. And that's one of the things I do is I always have you get cars like, here's a bag. Don't fill it up and just close it when you're done and don't do anything with it. We'll just pull over in a minute, but because you don't have time to pull over when they're going to throw up.
You got to tell her to fill those little snack Ziploc bags with, like, you know, goldfish and everything else. And when the kids are like, I'm hungry, you just chuck it back in.
Chuck it right. Exactly. You don't even look. You just say snacks and fling it and hopes, you know, whoever catches it gets.
Where do I put this empty bag? Just throw it on the floor. I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
We'll deal with it when we get to the
clean it up later. We open the door and stuff falls out. It's fine. That's what a road trip's all about. But David McMillen, too, getting back to the subject at hand, is, in my mind, the camper guy.
Yes, he is. You know? He's the guy that let me borrow his camper for our big road trip this year.
Yeah. So. Anybody didn't see the pictures of that? That is a very impressive camper for a trip camper. I think it was very well made.
Which will be, from what I understand, talking to him, will be at the convention. Like, he plans on bringing his whole setup of his 81 Pontiac Bonneville station wagon.
Nice.
With the camper attached to it, so that everybody can get a real good view of how he has this thing set up.
Just going to throw it out there that maybe you could ask your really good friend if maybe your really good friend and co-host of the podcast would be allowed to sit in said station wagon and have his picture taken, because that's the ultimate dad, in my opinion.
I don't think that will be a problem.
I love it. You know, I just because so many, I mean, it from National Lampoon's American Vacation and all of those other ones, I'm like, oh man, that is the perfect vehicle. I mean, today things have changed, you know, things have gotten more fuel efficient and yada, 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 and more comfortable for sure. But I remember, like, the bench seat in the front, the bench seat in the middle, and then in the back, who knows? You have seats facing the other way.
He has the facing out the back one. So
there you go.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So maybe not a very conventional car. However, so a few years ago, he had that car on a show with the Discovery Channel called Pink Slip or something like that. I don't know. It had to do with, like, it was like a car antique road show type of thing. Like, people who had these amazing stories about their cars, which his story about his car being that he got it at an auto auction when his friend was supposed to get him a gas efficient car and bought that one instead for $1,000. But anyway, they trucked the car out to Los Angeles to do the taping of the show, and he packed the car full of supplies to road trip back with his family on US 50, because US 50 spans across the entire country and comes right through Cincinnati. And so he bought chains for the tires because he had to go through the Sierra Nevadas at the end of February, and he was passing brand new SUVs who were having a hard time going through there. And, like, the Rangers and police that were stopping everybody else were like, wait a minute. And they're like, oh, you have chains. See you later. And he would just keep on going. So might not be conventional, but that car is a beast.
Yeah, that's it. And the size of it, I can't imagine how much it weighs, you know. But that goes for a lot on the road, especially in, you know, slower conditions, or going up on, you know, steep slope with, you know, ice and whatever, or ice, snow, I guess. Now we got this. Yeah, just put it in low.
Yep.
We'll be there. Don't worry.
So he's gonna come and basically give everybody the confidence they need to, you know, take that road trip that they're like, I just want to wait till my kids are a little bit older. And I'll tell you right now, he's gonna tell you some amazing stories. He's got 4 kids, and he's taken, like, them when they were super young. So he's an awesome stay-at-home dad, and I'm excited to have him come in and talk.
Can't wait to meet him.
And then also too, and this, you know, this is another really good breakout session. We've got Emma Schmidt coming to talk about, and she's like the #1 sex therapist in Cincinnati. She's a friend of ours, my wife and I's, but she's going to be talking about your sexual health and relationships. And she's just going to be answering questions, and it's going to be a panel. I'm going to be moderating it, actually. And we're going to give the attendees a chance prior to the convention, a chance to pose questions into the attendees group, so that way we have a nice list of things to, toss to her to be able to answer, and also give guys a chance in person to be able to step up and, say, hey, XYZ question, blah, 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 and get those things answered as well. But she's amazing. She has spoken on some huge stages here in town. She's been invited to the local mega church here in town a few times to talk. I mean, and for a sex therapist to get invited to a mega church, or to a church in general, that says a lot.
It does. It really does.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to have her here. And I know that she's excited to be here as well. She wanted to be a part of things last year, and she caught COVID. So, no. Yeah. And so she battled through COVID and came out on top. But that was why she wasn't able to be a part of DadCon at home last year, is because she was recovering from all that.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. So. Well, I have to say, I love the subject, and I think it's something, and I assume that it's some way that you're using, you can do anonymous, questions and things like that, because a lot of people do have that hang up about, asking about sex or talking about it.
Right.
They can, the attendees page has all the information on that, right?
I haven't put anything up yet for a post, but I will. Honestly, guys, that if they wanted to be like anonymous, I mean, I'm not planning on putting names with questions when we actually are there at the convention anyways.
Of course.
I get it if someone doesn't want to ask something like specifically, like publicly in the group itself too. And I probably would just, I can be completely confidential with it if people just want to send me them privately and go that route, because I don't know any other way to do it. I don't know any other way to do it anonymously outside of that.
Exactly.
Without having to
send
like
an email through a secondary.
Yeah. So that's kind of where that's going to go. So I'm very excited about her being there and what that's going to bring to our attendees. I know that is a very common conversation that takes place within our group on a regular basis.
Yeah, we hear it all the time, and it's been generations of men saying things like, "How do I get more sex?" I mean, that's basically the answer. What is it? What do I do for this? And more about your relationship health has been very important. I think men are, starting to figure that out over the last, maybe 15, 20 years at most, but where they're able to stand up in front of a group of other men and say, my wife doesn't want to have sex with me. What do I do?
Yep.
That's maybe a lot for a lot of people. I could do it, if that was a question I had. I don't have I'm an open book, not a,
I don't think anybody, honestly, no one needs to even put that question in the thing, because that's already up there on the top of the list of one of the very first questions. Nobody needs to ask that question, honestly, because that's been said so many times in so many stay-at-home dad groups that no one needs to even be like, I have to be the one to say this. No, I'll be the one up there at the mic. I will address that question right off the bat, because I think Emma will come in with some really great knowledge on that. Personally, one of my favorites is what my wife told me when I was talking to her about that. And it was like, it's all about the mental side of things. Like, you need to come at me from a cerebral point of things, and come up with those ways that, you do things that make my brain start spinning and get those emotions going, kind of deal. So but that's just my little, that was my little throw out there.
Do you want mine?
Yeah, do it, man. What is it?
All right. So reasonably speaking, men have basically one erogenous zone, right? And there may be other things, but really that's it.
The main one. Yeah.
So women have two, and you'll never guess what they are. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. One is her mind, just like you just said. And two is her entire body.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is there's really any type of contact that you have with your spouse, with your lover, let's say, with your SO, whatever, that contact is building that intimacy, building into, in my opinion, them wanting to have more intimacy with you.
Yep.
So, putting your hand on her back, like when you're walking, or holding her hand. Yeah, that's all very important. And I think a lot of men have looked at it like, okay, so what do? I touch this and this. No, I mean, sure, but can we just do more? And like you said, engage her mentally,
think about the things you did when you were dating. That was those were the things that shot her hair up on the back of her neck, because she was like, ooh, those are the things that we forget to keep doing when we get married.
Yeah, so, definitely. All right.
So yeah, so excited for that one.
I
and
can't
then
wait.
and then the last announcement for the week, we've got Dr. Robert Frank, which most people probably don't know his name. Now, I guarantee when I get done with this, you will know who he is. But he's going to be presenting on the power of parenting, what we know for raising successful children. He is a psychologist. He's been a professor for many years. He is the reason we have a HomeDadCon. I am so excited. He goes by Dr. Bob, actually. That's what most people know him as, especially the veteran guys who have been here for a while. But he's an older gentleman. And we got the chance to reach out to him because we had talked to Peter, and and got that all going. And so when we reached out to him and said, "Hey, we've got this 25th, anniversary for HomeDadCon. Would you want to come and talk?" And he was like, "Yeah, I would love to."
Awesome.
And I'm like, "Dude, you're like the godfather of this whole thing. You've got to be there." So so he's coming. OG. Yeah. So I'm excited. I mean, like he's not a stay-at-home dad, but he is this amazing, he is a dad. And he's got this amazing perspective on fatherhood. And I'm just excited that he accepted our invitation to come speak this year.
Me too. And especially being a psychologist. So you get a bit of that looking into why kids do what they do.
Yeah.
And for me, that's always been very enlightening to look at my kid and go, oh, that's why you're pitching a fit, And even as like an infant, there are mainly like 3 or 4 reasons why the baby is crying. Usually, it's they're hungry or they're, wet or, have a messy diaper or they're sleepy. I mean, there's just these little tiny things. And as they grow, it becomes, a multifaceted thing, but understanding, well, this is what my kid wants or needs. Oh, okay. Their brain is saying, I need to be pushing against you because I'm 2 or whatever. And that psychology of it, I'm really looking forward to hearing, especially when the title, The Power of Parenting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Well, I like too, he's the first, I don't know the specifics, but from what I understand, he's one of the first professors or people to study stay-at-home dads, from back in like the 90s. I mean,
wow,
nobody was doing that. That was how it all got started. He was like, hey, I want to talk to these guys firsthand, bring them all to Chicago, and let's have a couple of days where we just kind of ask them questions and get their feedback on things. And that's what HomeDadCon was. It was just a place to do that. And so it went from that to 10 years of them meeting and turning it into what it is now. And I think that we're going to get some really amazing connections with him on that. So
yeah, definitely.
So excited for that. And that's kind of where the week ended. And then we kind of wanted to leave this last part in there, the last thing. So the last thing, and I'll start out on a funny side of this before we get into it being really serious. So it was Sunday night, and we had a meeting with the board of directors about the COVID vaccine policy that we were going to put out. And at the end of the meeting, it went well. It was under an hour for us to kind of talk things through, which we'd been using Slack to have our conversations. But anyway, I had JHG and Keith on the phone, on the Zoom call with me. And I was like, hey guys, I'll stay on your side. I'm gonna talk to you for a few things. We were talking about some other things. And I was asking him, how do I set this up so that I can email out this announcement, but I want to make sure that it looks right and all these other things. And it's really weird to do on Eventbrite. So Keith gets on there. He's like, oh, it's like this. And he goes in, copy and paste, throws it up there, goes through and sets it up to where it's going to go. And he missed clicking a button that just said send to specific attendees. And it's always set on send to all attendees. And he had copy and pasted in there, and he clicks it and he goes, oh, shoot. And I was like, what do you mean, oh, shoot? And he was like, I think I just sent that to everyone. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. And he's looking at it and he's like, oh, maybe I can get it back. I'm like, you're not getting it back. It's an email. This is not Gmail. This is Eventbrite.
It's out there.
A freaking DOS system. It's horrible for sending emails on. But he was like, yep.
Lol.
He's like, but I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure that went out. And I looked at it, I was like, yep, that definitely went out to all 95 attendees that are on there. So that's how that accidentally went out at 11:30 at night. It was supposed to go out the next morning, but So that was kind of the funny side to like getting it out there.
Are we ready to send this? I sure hope so, because I just did.
Well, it looks all right. I think we're good. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I went to bed with all kinds of anxiety for the night. I did not sleep well. So anyway, that's the funny portion of it. So basically what went out was a letter that we spent a good portion of a week getting the right language, making sure that we were, in the right place to say what we needed to say before we actually sent this out, because it was going to very possibly affect a large number of people, possibly with just the fact that it's a divided conversation. And what we came down to is that HomeDadCon this year is going to be a vaccinated attendees only convention this year. And that is for the safety of everybody, for the safety of families, and just the best way that we felt to put this on in person this year, and hopefully with as little to no incident as possible.
Yeah. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I can't imagine realistically the stress that involved getting to that point and making that decision, and the thoughts of what it may happen, what may do. But at the same time, especially with the way things are kind of ramping up, I think everyone that is attending will feel better knowing that that's a requirement.
Yeah, I'm so humbled and grateful to be a part of the board that we have, because they do some amazing work. I feel like I don't really do a lot of the heavy lifting that they do. I'm more of the guy that's like, yep, that sounds great. Maybe change this word or that, because just for social media purposes or whatever. But like, there are so many better brains than me in there. And I'm just the guy who like knows how to like make it pop on social media, that kind of thing. And so it's just an honor to work with these guys. And
I think we should probably see if we can vote to lock in this board for the next 5 years.
Good luck. I know there's
no. I think we should go throw a vote out there already, Brock.
There's two of us that I know are not probably going to be coming back.
So ready to move on. I get it. I understand.
I am one of those that will not be coming back, but I still be heavily involved with everything going on. As
I think we should, at least one caveat on that particular comment is that, so that everyone understands that the board is all voluntary.
Yeah.
And the board is, tireless. There's so much involved, just from what I can see from a distance, in getting everything done. And of course, on the outside, it looks so simple. Oh, you got a Facebook page, whatever. But there is just so much more involved, just with putting graphics to the words is a huge thing. Making sure that we're remembering things and remembering people and trying to keep the records straight of, this, like the OGs and things like that. We're really trying to build a community. It's way harder than what it looks like. Yeah. And for one, I want to point that out, that it is all voluntary. It's just all other at-home dads that are just literally cutting time out of their day, or putting it onto the end of their day. It's like, well, I usually go to bed at 11, but I've got another hour's worth of, whatever stuff. And I really applaud all of the board members and appreciate that y'all do it.
Yeah, definitely. Sincerely. Thank you. Yeah. These guys, their kids are running around while they're building Google document forms and stuff for things to be done. And that's the other part to this too, is that there'll be a Google Doc that's going to come out here very soon, that will be emailed out, where it'll give you the ability to basically show us verification that you're vaccinated. And we'll give you the ability to actually upload your vaccination card for us to be able to see. And then when you show up, we'll have that form printed out, and you will sign at the bottom of it, stating and verifying that in the past 48 hours you've had no symptoms for COVID. So that way we've got that much more just of a like, all right, like we've done our due diligence in this.
Yeah.
And that's really the only thing that we can do in that. So so that's kind of that. That's really where that came down to. It was just, it took a lot of work. And it caused a lot of other things to take place. Like, I mean, like you said, you talk about the volunteering side. I mean, you got guys calling up or emailing establishments, making sure that things are set in place after, like the Kentucky governor came out and said what he was saying about masks and the vaccine and stuff. And, so we're talking with them, we're talking with the hotels and just all these different entities. There's so many moving parts to it. And yeah, I mean, but at the same time, like, honestly, in a lot of ways, like, as stressful and hectic as it would be, I'm glad that we're the ones that are doing it, and we're excited to be able to put this on this year and have everybody there and feel confident. Like the responses that we got, I don't know if you saw a lot of those, but I mean, I was really happy with the responses that have come out in the past 2 days.
Yeah. And just the understanding that this is what we do as primary caretakers. We take care of everybody around us. That's what we do. I'm the guy with the backpack that's got the little Ziploc bag of, Band-Aids and, aspirin or not aspirin, ibuprofen or cough drops or whatever it is. I've got all those things, and I take care of the people around me. That's what I do. And if you go into any situation, I think as the primary caretaker, and at-home dad definitely fills that role, then you're going to look at the people around you and want to take care of them. And that comes down to getting vaccinated and wearing a mask. It's just common sense, I feel, although it's not everyone's opinion. And that's all I'm going to say.
True. It is not everyone's opinion. Like I said, it is a very divided field. You've got extremes on both sides. Doesn't really seem like, there's really not a place for gray in it at all. It is a truly black and white issue. And so who knows, like, honestly, people are going to have to make their own choices and everything else. And so, yeah.
I got to go.
Oh, okay.
My kid's throwing up.
Oh, crap.
And so if you want to put an ending on it, I'm sorry, but.
Nope, you're fine. Go. I got
Marnie's in a little bit of trouble. So
yeah, right. Do it, man.
Good night, everybody. Sorry, man. I'll talk to you later. Sorry.
Sounds good. You're fine. Don't apologize. All right. So that's basically everything that we had for tonight's show. We just wanted to give you all an opportunity to hear what's coming up next week. Next week, we're going to talk about school starting back up. I know for some of you, school has already begun, but we want to talk about what does that first day of school look like for you? What did it look like for me and Danny, especially when our kids first started school? My daughter's actually starting kindergarten this year for the first time. My daughter is starting up kindergarten this year. And so it's going to be interesting because I don't know what emotions I'm going to have compared to when my son went to kindergarten 4 years ago. So we'll be talking about that and just seeing where that goes. But we appreciate everybody listening to the show, and we'll talk to y'all next week. Have a good one.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.